the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Are the Chicago Bears trending and adding this surprise player in free agency? Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, we have something interesting to talk about on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, something I've been seeing on social media for the last couple of days. So I just wanted to come on here really quick and get your guys' opinion on what I have been seeing on social media. And as we all know, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are currently prepping for free agency as they look to add multiple quality players on this roster. And one of the things that we have been talking about over the last couple of weeks as Ryan Poles and the Bears prep for free agency to open up next month, we've been talking a lot about the running back position and how Ben Johnson made it very clear the second that he got the job here in Chicago that he wanted to add to the running back room. And we talked about free agent running back options, guys like Najee Harris and Aaron Jones. We have talked about how the Bears can use one of those second round picks or maybe a first round pick on a running back with guys like Ashton Jeanty, Caleb Johnson, and Travion Henderson. Everyone knows that Travion Henderson is my personal favorite if the Bears do opt to draft a running back this year. But now this running back, veteran running back to the Chicago Bears, is starting to gain a little bit of traction as we head into the offseason and into the free agency period for the Chicago Bears. And that is running back Nick Chubb. And it's already been rumored that Nick Chubb is actually open to joining the Chicago Bears if the Cleveland Browns do in fact want to go in a different direction. So Bears fans, before I go any further and give you guys my personal opinion on if I feel that Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears should add a guy like Nick Chubb, how do you feel about this? Do you think the Chicago Bears should sign Nick Chubb and then pair him with DeAndre Swift on the Chicago Bears offense this offseason? And once again, this is an interesting name to really talk about, a name that we haven't talked about this offseason. Nick Chubb is 29 years old, a four-time Pro Bowler with 1,000+ yard seasons. The Bears are looking to add a power back to add to DeAndre Swift, because I think at the end of the day, all the conversations we're having about DeAndre Swift, I think the contract and trying to trade Swift is not going to happen. So I think Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, just for this year, are going to be looking to add to DeAndre Swift to try to upgrade this running back room. And you have to remember that DeAndre Swift and Nick Chubb were actually former college teammates as well. So the connection is definitely there. When you look at a guy like Nick Chubb, he is a very good running back, known for his powerful running style, and his ability to break tackles and consistent production. And here's the thing, consistent production when healthy. When you're looking at Nick Chubb, he is coming off back-to-back injury-riddled seasons for the Cleveland Browns. So you really don't even know what type of player you're going to be getting in a guy like Nick Chubb. Once again, he's 29 years old, about to be 30 years old, coming off back-to-back injury-riddled seasons. So there's some positives and negatives about this. Once again, you're not really sure what type of player you're going to be getting in Nick Chubb because he has been banged up. But the Bears could also sign him cheap as a low-risk, high-reward option this offseason. To me personally, if the Bears built the offensive line and, maybe the offensive line was a lot better and more improved unit going into this next season, you add a guy like Nick Chubb, he's not going to be the every down back, but, he splits carries with DeAndre Swift. Maybe it would work out in the Chicago Bears' favor. But to me, you're looking at a 29-year-old player that's aging at the running back position. He's known for his powerful style. And once again, I want to give Nick Chubb a whole lot of credit. There was once a time in the National Football League where he was considered one of the best running backs in the National Football League. But now coming off back-to-back injury-riddled seasons, to me, I would not take that risk if I was Ryan Poles. If Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, which I think is what they're going to do, if they really want to add to the running back room, just draft a running back. Rather, it's Ashton Jeanty, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Junkins. It doesn't matter. I would just draft a running back in round 2 with one of those 2 second-round picks in the NFL draft, pair him with DeAndre Swift, and then just let it work itself out. Once again, that's no disrespect to Nick Chubb. He's just at that point in his career or even though it would possibly be a low risk, high reward signing, and the Bears could possibly get him for cheap, I just think there's other things you can spend your money on, especially when you want to invest in the offensive line. I think you need every bit of cap space to invest, not only in the offensive line, but the defensive line as well, because once again, you win and lose games in the trenches. Once again, Nick Chubb was a great player at one point in his career, and maybe he can have that, some effect here in Chicago as well, as a complimentary running back to DeAndre Swift. But to me personally, as a Bears fan, I would pass on bringing Nick Chubb to the Chicago Bears. So even though the rumors may continue to get hot, I do not expect or anticipate Ryan Poles to add Nick Chubb. I expect them to draft a running back in the 2025 NFL draft. So Bears fans, what would you do if you were Ryan Poles' shoes? Do you want to see the Chicago Bears sign Nick Chubb this offseason and pair him with DeAndre Swift? Let me know down below in the comment section. There is another topic that I wanted to discuss really quickly before I end today's episode of Keek on the Mic. As we all seen, the 49ers are willing to trade Debo Samuel, the versatile player in the National Football League, the wide receiver / running back. You can use him in many different ways. Obviously, Debo Samuel requested a trade, and the 49ers are going to grant his trade request. So my question for you guys on today's episode of Keek on the Mic is, should Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears be interested in a guy like Debo Samuel? He is 29 years old. His 2025 cap hit will be sitting at $15.8 million. So obviously, the money shouldn't be an issue if the Chicago Bears were interested. And you may have to give up maybe a second or maybe one of your third round picks to land a guy like Debo Samuel. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, well, Keek, why are we even talking about Debo Samuel? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I beg to differ. When I think about Debo Samuel to the Chicago Bears, I feel like it's a really underrated fit. When you combine Debo's ability in the backfield with Ben Johnson's creativity as the offensive play caller, it gets you kind of thinking on what it could actually mean for the Chicago Bears offense. Once again, when you look at Debo Samuel's 2024 stats, he had 51 receptions, 670 yards, three receiving touchdowns. Kind of wasn't really good in terms of rushing stats in 2024, but Debo Samuel has had some seasons where Kyle Shanahan had him absolutely cooking. Debo Samuel was one of the forefronts on having one of the best offenses in the National Football League and helping the 49ers get to their couple Super Bowls. Once again, he is a little bit older now. It seems like he's kind of slowing down. But when you add the fact that the Bears already have DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, right? Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift in the backfield, and then you could possibly add in the NFL draft as well a guy like Travion Henderson, a guy that has home run speed, a guy that has the ability to also receive out of the backfield as well. And then you add Debo Samuel to the mix with the creativity that Ben Johnson is coming with here to Chicago. And once again, if you go back to his OC days with Detroit Lions and how he used Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams, and then you think about what he can do here with Debo Samuel in the fold with all the weapons that he already has, to me, it seems like an interesting thought. I'm not sitting here saying that the Bears are 100% going to do it. And once again, I'm not sure if Debo Samuel is looking for another contract extension. He's already, on the books for $15.8 million in 2025, which for a 29-year-old player, that seems like he may be slowing down. That may be a little bit too much of a high price for Ryan Poles. Once again, we have other areas of need. We need to address the offensive line and defensive line as well. But to me, it's definitely something that I could see Ryan Poles maybe just calling the 49ers and seeing what they want for a Debo Samuel trade. I'm not really willing to give up any of my second round picks, but maybe if we can give up maybe like a third or maybe a fourth round pick or maybe 2 day 3 picks to get Debo Samuel here to Chicago, hoping that he still has a couple of years left in the tank, I would actually be really intrigued as a Bears fan to see Debo Samuel in a Ben Johnson offense with, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, and DJ Moore. So just a something to think about. Once again, I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen, but just let me know how you feel about the Chicago Bears possibly trading for a guy like Debo Samuel? Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the